I found this photograph at a local antique shop. I could tell by looking at it that it was very old, based on the size and clothing that the people were wearing. This is actually one of two vintage photographs that I bought that day. I'll get into the other one a little bit later. I'll just say that I think they're connected. I'd like to do a deep dive into the photo, but first a little bit of background. The photo goes all the way back over a century to 1909, 114 years as of 2023. It was taken in the town of Walkerville, named in honor of its founder, Whiskey Baron Hiram Walker. Here's an aerial view of the town, and if you look all the way to the east or left of the photo, it will give you an idea of the location where this photo was taken. 1909 was just at the dawn of the auto industry, so boats were a very large part of travel, certainly in getting back and forth between Canada and the US. The bridge and the tunnel were still 2 decades away. Boat clubs were very popular at that time and had existed on the American side of the Detroit River since the late 1830s. The story goes that the original Walkerville Boat Club was not built in Walkerville. It was actually moved to Walkerville from the Detroit side of the river in 1888 by Franklin Walker, one of the sons of Hiram Walker, given as payment for a debt owed to the Walker family. During the winter of 1888, the entire club structure was placed on the frozen river and towed across to the Canadian side. Once established, the Walkerville Boat Club was enjoyed by patrons for 20 years until it burnt down in 1908. In 1909, a new Walkerville Boat Club was built, and that's the one that we're going to be looking at today. I love that that sign is shaped like a canoe. For reference, the Walkerville Boat Club stood near the foot of Bellevue Avenue, right across the river from Belle Isle. The land where the club once stood is currently owned by the Ford Motor Company. It is fenced in and it's just an empty piece of land right now. It's also across the street from the very recognizable Powerhouse. I've seen this photo before, but only as a postcard reproduction online, and the resolution was not good at all. Look at when you zoom in, you can really see the pixelation. It's just a series of tiny circles to make up that image. Hey, but at least they colorized it. Postcards were very popular in 1909, and this one was published by the Valentine & Sons Publishing Company, which was one of the largest postcard companies of the day. Because the resolution of the postcard is so bad, it is almost impossible to make out any details of the several hundred people in the photo. It's just too pixelated. This photograph, however, once I had it scanned, you can really get in close and make out individual faces and some very interesting details. What people were doing, the mood of the day, and some very interesting 1909 fashion choices. The event was the Old Boys Reunion. These 2 or 3 day events were held in nearly every village, town, and city, usually around the civic holiday. I'd like to point out some things that are going on in this photograph. Keep an eye out, you might recognize an ancestor in the crowd. A man holds a baby, taking it out of its carriage, possibly the youngest person in this photo. Baby carriages sure looked a lot different back in 1909, basically just a wicker chair on wheels. Some interesting headwear. The young man sitting in the door is wearing something with writing on it. It looks like the word welcome. These young men have used paper or the programs from the event to shield their eyes from the sun, kind of like a precursor to a modern-day baseball hat. Something has gotten this young man's attention and he's glancing over his shoulder to see what's going on. One of the most detailed face shots in the entire photo. We get a nice long look at the band that was performing that day. We see tubas, trombones, a French horn, clarinet, and some drums, a bass drum and a snare drum. And we also see some stands with music sheets on them. And there's a man smoking a cigar. Is that person on their cell phone? This man is tilting his hat towards the camera. Also, you can see the shadows of the people facing east, so the sun is at their backs to the west. So the time is definitely afternoon. And still very hot because there are so many people with umbrellas. Look here, a young boy is having a snack out of a paper bag. As far as I can tell, it's the only person in this entire photo that I can see eating, or drinking for that matter. Another man smoking a cigar. Notice how many men are wearing boater hats. Okay, heading up a level. This little boy is holding what looks like a program, and I was able to track down a copy of that program. It reads, Walkerville Boat Club, Old Boys Regatta, Wednesday, August 4th, 09. Some of the day's events are listed. Swimming race, diving, watermelon race, and greasy pole. I don't have a clue what that event was. On the second level, you can see the balcony is adorned with several nautical flags. And look, a Union Jack is draped over the balcony railing. I find it interesting that some of the people are looking right at the photographer and others are not. I like the mix of the two because on the one hand, you get good looks at the people's faces, and on the other, we get to see a candid look at what people were doing that day, like looking over the railing, observing the band and all the action below. In the center of the second floor seems to be the section for the VIPs. Some really ornate hats on the ladies. It looks like the woman blinked at the wrong second. And this lady seems to be bored or maybe reading something. And this woman for sure is yawning here. Okay, up to the third level, and almost everyone here has an umbrella. This man is holding his hat over the railing and he looks a tad bored. Perhaps all these people are just sitting there patiently waiting for the event to start. And look at the big Canada flag at the top of the building. You can see that there was absolutely no wind blowing that day. It must have been very hot for everyone. And notice that no one is wearing shorts. This is probably my favorite detail. It's 1909 and these two well-dressed ladies have sunglasses on. Sunglasses! That got me wondering, when were sunglasses invented? Well, it turns out sunglasses were not part of the mainstream until the 1920s. Made popular by Hollywood movie stars. So these two ladies are definitely trendsetters, and I noticed that 2 or 3 other people in the photo are also wearing sunglasses. It also appears that one of the ladies has draped her skirts over the railing, maybe as a way to get them out of the way. This man's boater hat is defying gravity. Doing a little bit of digging, I was able to find out what was happening in the photo and the date that it was taken. August 4th, 1909. It was a Wednesday. A lady sitting on the railing. That's pretty dangerous. The purpose of the Old Boys Reunion Festival was to celebrate the progress of the ambitious city and to reunite those who had left the city. Not only were the public and commercial buildings in the city lavishly decorated, but many of the residential districts were beautified as well. Postcards were big business back in 1909, and there's a chance that some of the people in the picture knew that they were being photographed for the purposes of a postcard. With the information that I had in doing some research, I was able to get in touch with the fine folks at the Chimchuck Museum and find some more pictures of the Walkerville Boat Club from that same day. Check this out, it looks like almost the exact same vantage point as the first photo, except a little bit later on in the day. And you can see a lot of the same people are still in the exact locations as the first photo. My favorite detail in this photo is that there is a man with a camera in the shot. He appears to be taking a photo of the man taking the photo. In the copy of the museum photo, the resolution isn't as high, so unfortunately I can't see as much detail. And then I found this. This is a third photo from that day. This is from a slightly different angle, but it allows us to see the end of the dock headed into the river. Also, I like seeing that windmill in the top left-hand corner of the photo. The day that I bought the Walkerville Boat Club photo, there was also another very old photo there that I bought as well. I bought it because I guessed that it was also taken at the Walkerville Boat Club. Again, no writing on the photograph, and this one is an interior shot, and it looks like it was taken on Halloween. A couple of details here are the carved pumpkin in the center, and again, several nautical flags draped across the room, leading me to believe that it was also taken at the Walkerville Boat Club. And take a look at the lantern hanging to the left, it was on. Based on how high the ceiling is, I'm thinking that this photo was taken on the top floor of the Walkerville Boat Club. It looks like they've lined the windows with newspapers, a little bit more resolution, and we might be able to see the headline. But for now, it's too hard to make out. Well, thank you so much for watching. I just love going over these old photographs and looking for interesting details. And I wanted to mention that the Walkerville Boat Club lasted until 1938. That year it was raised as part of an expansion of the Ford Motor Company. Oh, and some more ladies wearing sunglasses. Funny that nobody has a drink in their hand. Yeah, no shorts. No one is wearing shorts. There are no dogs in this shot. Nobody had a pet with them. Yeah, and no shots of boats either. Okay, just for fun, I've placed a photo of myself in the background of one of the shots. It's like, where's Waldo? Here's the photo. Let me know if you spot it, and I'll give you a prize. For more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Michael Evans, Windsor, Ontario.